I know what this mood is all about. Shinobu's coming over, isn't she?
That's my business, nothing to do with...
You
No, don't! Ah,
You
please don't do it!
whore! You'd rather have Shinobu than me, wouldn't you, you poohead? Ah!
Well, see, here is the big push that, physical media is coming back into the fold again. Most of you have that have been watching this, realizing it is. There are others that are just tuning in for the first time and saying, really, this is all coming back into the fold once again. But before we start, thank you for those who have subscribed to us, liked, and shared on all of our social media platforms. Thank you very much. We're about reaching 600 subscribers on YouTube. Thank you to those who have been there for us and continuing to watch our shows and sharing them out. This is how we get out there. We continue this. A lot of people are starting to come into this channel, QTCast TV, Man with the Show, and all of our other products on there. And that includes over on our other social media platforms. We're starting to move up in Rumble. Also BitChute, we're doing excellent on BitChute, and also on Odyssey. Well, as I said before, I was a child of the late 60s into the 70s, into the 80s. Grew up, saw the birth of the VCR and the Betamax, the birth of the video store, the internet, the rise of anime in the West, basically, some great movies, TV series. I grew up on anime on television, really. Before there was a tsunami, the early days of cable, I saw it on Channel 47, WJNU, with Nippon Television on a Saturday night. Today, Saturday nights, we watch Svengoolie, which is real popular right now. Take a little sip there. Clear the throat a little bit, throw the palates out. But there is one anime out there that basically is back. If you remember the Urusei Yatsura anime, which premiered in 81, which the manga was out in 78, it's back. You can watch it over on High Dive. But the thing about it is, and this is where the physical media comes into play. Now, the one thing about the producers, they didn't reset the show into modern times. They kept it the way it was in the 1980s. Just the anime is done much, toward computer standards of today. But here's the thing about this whole situation. In Japan, and the thing about it is, Betamax and VCRs are still readily available in Japan, not as much as it is in the US. Fans of the anime and new fans are going back and putting the episodes on VHS and Betamax and watching it the way it was originally aired. The look and everything, if you know how VHS looks these days. We're going to read this off of Taku magazine. Japan fans use Betamax and VCRs to watch the new Urusei Yatsura authentically. The original Urusei Yatsura anime premiered in 1981, following the 1978 debut of the manga. The new Urusei Yatsura anime decided against resetting the story in modern times, so it still occurs in the late 70s, early 80s, when the anime hits Japanese TVs in the middle of the night over the weekend. Many fans choose to keep watching as authentic as possible and recorded the episodes on tapes. We know this because the number of Japanese people had made a point of not only getting out their old beta and VCRs out, but showing off on social media how they've been true to the era. Star News translated a tweet writing, "I see everyone's getting their ancient equipment out to record Urusei Yatsura on videotape." And the thing is that this is what's been going on. Now, if you're not familiar with Urusei Yatsura, it's sort of the typical Japanese anime: alien invasion, alien chooses hero to fight against. Hero ends up winning in the end because the person he battled ends up falling in love with him, and girlfriend gets pissed off into the whole situation. And you can't say it any better than that. But it's funny to see that people, and you say to yourself, well, they're still making beta. Yeah, overseas you can still get beta and VHS tapes. I mean, here too, not as plentiful as overseas, but they're still available. See, and this is why you have to say to yourself that basically you have a turn back. You got people, willing to record their favorite anime and watch it in the original tapes. They would watch the original ones. In fact, you could probably get, they probably cost you a bit, the original series on VHS or even DVD. And this is a good thing. Because, when it comes, see, the thing about it is, let's put it in this perspective. Digital download, as good as it is, it's not perfect. You're better off either recording it off television, which is almost about close to it, or getting the DVD, getting the Blu-ray. Blu-ray will be, better. But the thing about it is, these days, you can pretty much even add that little glitch to these to the newer version to give it that robust look of 1981 VHS tapes. And you're probably going to see a lot of those on Twitter and on YouTube that doesn't get banned off. But this must be very happy to the producers of the show. Because basically, you're seeing a big push, especially in Japan. I would not be surprised if you see this over here. Not as big as it is in Japan, but I would not be surprised if there's a push over here for people to buy VHS machines. Betamax is a little harder to get unless you buy it from certain websites. I mean, it is out there. Like I said, tapes are out there over here, but most likely you probably have to do an Amazon or Alibaba to that situation if you want to find a good amount of them, if you want to record a lot of stuff. But I have a good collection of anime on VHS. I recorded stuff off of the SciFi Channel when they used to have when SciFi Channel was SciFi Channel, and they used to do anime on the weekends, which was great, because you had anime, and when I was growing up, I said before, my anime fix came from Channel 47 WJNU it's a Newark station, but it's New York City, which basically they shared. Nippon Television bought time, and this is before the those. Before advertisers used to buy, hours of advertising time to advertise overnight and stuff like that. But what you had was a couple of the UHF stations used to share with each other, allowed to give time between stations, especially since you had a percentage of the population in New York. You had Asian, you had Japanese that still live in New York. We have a good amount of the population. There's Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Taiwan. But there was, at that time period, even though cable was available, you didn't really have those channels. They didn't come in till later toward the 90s, really. I mean, the late 80s, 90s, you start to see more and more channels, and you start to see Russian channels, Polish. Today you got a slew of them. Of every, pretty much every country that you can think of on there. There's even a state. My cable service picks up from Puerto Rico. We have a one of the Puerto Rican stations down there in the Caribbean does broadcast on cable. My mother watches it on her cable. She loves it. One thing, being, messages from home, as she would say. But the thing is that, with all the VHSs that I've had and all that, yeah, Mom, if you're watching, yes, I'll come get the rest of the collection. Don't worry. Yeah, I have a lot of them there. I have a lot of VHS there, just sitting there. And, and the other thing is, the other half of it is not only anime. It's like, I got Mystery Science Theater 3000, got the original Thanksgiving marathons, including the stuff with Godzilla. Yeah, you can't get the Godzilla stuff unless you go to the high seas, because basically Toho is not allowing the production house that does Mystery Science Theater to put those on DVD. They did at one point, but then they had to pull them. They had to pull them and change them. I forgot what it was. Was it the Gila Monster they replaced it with? On there, and there was a whole joke on how to replace, because you could order the Gila Monster for free to replace the Godzilla one, and they said they couldn't say.
Frank, I'm sorry, I'm just a little upset that you failed to take the time to clear the rights for the Japanese giant lizard monster movie.
Oh, you mean the whole versus debacle?
Damn straight.
The Godzilla Megalon one. So every time they were like, they kept putting it over their mouths. It was funny as hell on there. But what do you think? What do you think of this whole situation? I mean, this is great to seeing that people are using VCRs and betas again. Let me know in the comments below. Are you doing this with this series? So don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, share, and we'll see you on the next one. Thank you for tuning in, and bye-bye now.
I think you're officially a tool of the man. That's what I think. Make them see the white dot, Frank.
It makes me sad for the sacks that just don't get it.